Okay. Good morning, everyone. How are you all? Good. Everything perfect? Amma, just one. Just switch off this fan. This one. Last one. Last one. Switch off. Thank you. Okay. So yesterday, everyone, before leaving, we have done one topic called qualities of an auditor. Tell me, what are the two types of qualities we have? Professional quality and personal quality. What is your first professional quality? You should be a holder of COB. Expert knowledge in, advanced knowledge in law and typing, and good knowledge in other disciplines. What are our other disciplines? Finance, secretarial practices, behavioral sciences, administration, management, cost accounting, data. I think yesterday we already discussed why do we need to have these much of knowledge. Reason being very simple, because you never know what kind of assignment will come onto your way when you will set up your practice. Clear? Now the next thing which you need to understand, like I think we did it already, personal qualities. What is our first one? What does that say? You should be honest. Next one. You should always carry. Next one. Independent. You shall not do any work or do not get influenced by any person. So no financial relationships, no family relation. Confidentiality. You need to keep the secretive information secret and confidential information confident, because the employer, your client, is going to tell you so many sensitive informations. So under what two circumstances you can only speak up? Either there is a prior permission of client or there is a requirement of law. You should always keep on updating and upgrading your skills and competence. Next, you should have a good computer skills, followed by you should have a tactful and logical mind. And the most important feature is known as professional skepticism. क्या होता है professional skepticism? It is known as alert and which mind? Questioning mind. So these all are your which qualities? Personal qualities. 100% clarity, right? So still our essay 200 is going on. Regarding the notes file, this is not the file which I am going to share with you. I am going to share with you the file of the notes which are already been prepared. ठीक है ना? This is the just we are giving the running notes. In case you want the running notes, this file also I'll share it with you. No problem. So I'll give you one Google Drive ka link in which the material ka link and all these class notes ka links, everything will be there along with the question bank, right? So the moment our very particular chapter is getting over, after that you are going to go through the questions so that you will be capable enough to give the examinations as and when weekly examination or bi-week. I think weekly examinations are taking place. Sometimes 2 subjects, sometimes 3 subjects or 4 subjects, whatever the case may be. You should be in a position to do it on the spot, right? Just wait for 1 or 2 days. I am arranging the documents because new syllabus is there. So shuffling has taken place. So some topics has to be shuffled up and down, right? Okay. So we are done with the topic called qualities of an auditor. We are still doing which standard, everyone? Essay 200. So essay 200 में what is our next topic is going to be known as objectives of audit. What is our topic, everyone? Objectives of audit. बहुत ही simple topic है, बहुत easy topic है. First of all, do you remember yesterday I told you one thing कि auditor is not a bloodhound, he is only a watchdog. What was the meaning of that? कि are we expected to detect, prevent and correct frauds and error, or we are only required to report the frauds and error? Only those frauds and errors which we will come across. So we are not expected to. देखो, there is one thing you need to be very clear. You are not getting appointed for detection of frauds and error. आपको अपॉइंट किया जा रहा है एफएस का एग्जामिनेशन करने के लिए. यू आर बीइंग अपॉइंटेड टू डू द एग्जामिनेशन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट. आप फ्रॉड्स एंड एरर्स के लिए अपॉइंट नहीं हुए. हाँ, those frauds and errors which you will see, that you have to what? Report. But you are not specifically being hired for detection of what? Frauds and error. उसके लिए एक अलग audit होता है, that is called forensic audit. What do we call? अच्छा, all of you might have seen CID or not? उसमें अपना वो ACP प्रद्युमन कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. That attitude you only have to bring when someone is hiring you as a forensic auditor. Which auditor? Forensic auditor का काम क्या होता है? Scam and scandal has happened. You just need to go to the company and tell them that who is the scamster, what is the scheme of scam he has done, how much money was involved, and what parties are involved. This is what your work as a which auditor? Forensic. हम लोग forensic audit नहीं कर रहे. Forensic audit is a part of your CA final auditing. Right now we are doing the statutory audit. Which audit? Statutory. तो कंपनी से क्या बोलता है? Go and do the financial statement का audit. Now, what is the name of the topic? Objectives of an audit. So I am again going to broadly classify objectives into two parts. One is known as primary objectives and one are known as secondary objectives. So what are the two types of objectives we have? Primary and secondary. पहले समझ लो, उसके बाद आप note down करना हो तो करना. Listen. Why primary objectives are known as primary? Because this is the main purpose for which we are getting hired, right? If I will be able to achieve my primary objective, and if I still have some time left while doing the audit, अगर मान लो मेरा 80-90% time में primary objectives are over, if I still am left with free time of 10 to 20%, then I will shift my focus from primary objective to what? Secondary objective. It means which is my second priority? Secondary objective. My first priority was, is, and will always be which one? Primary objective. And now please tell me, what is your primary objective? Your primary objective is FS. What is FS? Financial statement. There are total 4 primary objectives you have. How many? Every 4 primary objectives are going to attach with common goal called financial statement. So whatever the objective I'm going to tell you, in every objective I'll tell you how one particular objective is connected with what? Financial statement. Our objective number 1, to see that our financial statements must be prepared as per AFRF. Now, point number 1, try to understand. In auditing, ICAI is not bothered about your grammatical mistakes. They're not bothered about your sentence formation. What they are bothered about are the keywords which they want to see in your answer. ICAI क्या सोचता है कि in my study material, if there is one keyword, the same keyword should appear in your answer. Are you getting the point? So the first keyword for the day, what you are going to learn is known as AFRF. AFRF को हम लोग बोलते हैं Applicable Financial Reporting Framework. What is the full form? एक बार और repeat करो. Applicable Financial Reporting Framework. सर इसका मतलब क्या है? कि whatever the applicable financial reporting framework is on the company, their financial statement should be prepared as per that framework only. Ab question arises, sir, what do you mean by framework? Sir, framework means accounting policies. Sir, framework means accounting estimates. Sir, framework means going concern assumption. Sir, framework means laws and regulation. Chalo, one example. अच्छा मेरे को ये बताओ, what do you mean by WDV and what do you mean by SLM? Are they the methods of depreciation? Are they the methods of depreciation? In 1 year you're following WDV, can you change that to second year to SLM and third again WDV? Or you have to follow consistently? It means your accounting policies should be consistently followed. Who is going to check it? Auditor. हमारा काम ये check करना है. Second thing, अच्छे बताओ, what do you mean by provision for doubtful debt? Is it an actual figure or estimation? It means your accounting estimates should be good, should be well made. Are you getting the point? What is the next one? Going concern. Do you run your business to shut it down in the near future or for a longer period of time? It means I have to check whether you're maintaining your going concern assumption or not. What is the next one? Laws and regulation. मेरे को बताओ, how do we prepare the financial statements as per accounting? Do we prepare T-shaped financial statements or vertical? As per Schedule 3 or not? Schedule 3 में what is part A? Balance sheet. What is part B? तो वही हम लोग चेक कर रहे हैं आपके laws and regulations. अब समझ में आ गया? ये सारी चीजों को जब हम लोग चेक करते हैं, when we check all these things put together, we call it as AFRF. Full form, Applicable Financial Reporting Framework. Means we are expecting a client to report as per the applicable framework. That's why it is called Applicable Financial Reporting Framework. Did you understand the objective number 1? So what is our objective number 1? To check that कि financial statements must have been prepared as per what? AFRF. Repeat again last time. Applicable financial reporting framework. What we are checking in that, whether you are following your accounting policies properly or not, are your accounting estimates adequate or not, is your going concern assumption holding good or not, and whether you are following the laws and regulations. हम लोग वही चीज चेक कर रहे हैं. उसके बाद once I will check this, I will move to my second primary objective. My second primary objective is that कि your financial statements must be prepared as per accounting standards. Must be prepared as per what? आपकी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स के अंदर एएस फॉलो होना चाहिए. अब मेरे को ये बताओ, व्हाट इज AS2? इन्वेंट्री वैल्यूएशन. फॉर्मूला क्या है? कॉस्ट और NRV, विच एवर इज लोअर. इज दिस अ फॉर्मूला? अब कंपनी ने इन्वेंट्री खरीदा 70 करोड़ का, लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली द डिमांड फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर इन्वेंट्री इज नो लॉन्गर देयर इन द मार्केट. Now the net realizable value on 31st March 2024 is only 24 crores. How much is the NRV? 24. How much was the cost we incurred? So how much you will write it as a closing stock? But company क्या लिख रही है? 70 crore. Is it allowed or not allowed? हम लोग वही चेक कर रहे हैं कि आपने अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड अच्छे से फॉलो करे या नहीं करे. अब बताओ, वैल्यूएशन ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट मस्ट बी एज पर AS13. Cash flow statement must be prepared as per AS3. Valuation of property, plant and equipment must be as per AS10. अगर गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट मिला है तो AS12. अगर रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शन है तो AS18. अगर लीज एग्रीमेंट किया तो AS19. डेप्रिसिएशन चार्ज करना है तो एज पर AS10 अगेन. आर यू गेटिंग द पॉइंट? तो every standard has its own relevance. Your whole financial statements must be prepared as per what? Accounting standard. Who is checking? Who is preparing? Management. Preparation and presentation किसकी प्रॉब्लम? लेकिन whether they are prepared and presented according to that or not, उसको चेक करना किसका फॉलो? ऑडिट. हमारा काम चेकिंग है, हमारा काम करना नहीं है, हमारा काम चेक करना है. Did you get the point? अब वेरी सिंपल सी बात है ये, just to make sure that setup is running good or not, mic is working or not, batteries are changed or not. Whose problem? Management. What is my duty? Come inside, take this equipment, deliver the class, go and take my money. That's it. Did you get the point? तो हम लोग ये ऐसे ही करते हैं भाई. preparation and presentation of financial statement, whose problem? Checking that whether they are properly prepared or not, whose check problem? Audit. So tell me, what is my objective number 1 and objective number 2? Objective number 1 में we are checking that कि financial statements must be prepared as per AFR. Objective number 2 में we are checking that financial statement must be prepared as per what? Can I use this word? आप अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स हर साल चेंज करते हो या कंसिस्टेंटली फॉलो करते हो? टेल मी द 3 फंडामेंटल असम्पशंस ऑफ अकाउंटिंग. अक्रूवल, कंसिस्टेंसी, गोइंग कंसर्न. हम लोग कंसिस्टेंसी चेक कर रहे हैं कि हर साल यू शुड बी फॉलोइंग द सेम अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स, सेम अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज. सो मूविंग टू द थर्ड ऑब्जेक्टिव, आई वुड लाइक टू सी दैट योर फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स आर free from ROMUM. Technical word number 2 for the day. ROMUM stands for risk of material misstatements. Repeat. Risk of material मतलब हम लोग indirectly किसकी बात कर रहे हैं? Frauds and errors. So now please tell me what I'm checking, that your financial statement should be free from frauds and errors. What do you mean by free from frauds and error? कि no fraud should be present in your FS and no error should be present. If there is any fraud and error, I will see. What will I do? I will report it under section number 143, subsection 12, 13, 14, 15. If the fraud amount is greater than equals to 1 crore to the central government, and if the fraud greater than equals to 1 crore to the central government, and if it is less than 1 crore, that's why I am expecting that your financial statement should be free from what? Frauds and error. और frauds and errors को हम लोग auditing language में क्या बोलते हैं? Risk of material misstatements. मतलब कोई misstatement नहीं होनी चाहिए. No wrongful and fraudulent information should be there. जैसे अभी हमने बात करी. अच्छा, इसकी example करते हैं. Let's take an example same. What was my cost of inventory? 70. What is my NRV? What do you expect? But they are writing 70. अब मेरे को बताओ ये fraud है या नहीं है? What is the fraud in it? Your gross profit is increasing or decreasing? Is it overstated? Are you showing to the outside world that I'm a profitable company? But actually you are a what? Loss making company. तो ये this kind of frauds and errors को I will make sure that I will see, and if I'll come across, I'll report it to the central government. Are you getting the point? Now, tell me my three objectives. Financial statement should be as per AFRF. Financial statements are prepared consistently as per accounting standard, and financial statement should be free from ROMM, risk of material. तीनों पॉइंट्स में कॉमन वर्ड क्या है? फाइनेंशियल. और चौथा भी कॉमन वर्ड वही है, फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स के ऊपर रिपोर्टिंग करना. दैट इज माय फोर्थ ऑब्जेक्टिव. तो व्हाट इज माय फोर्थ ऑब्जेक्टिव? टू रिपोर्ट ऑन व्हाट? Financial state. My question number one, do we express opinion or do we give a guarantee? We give a what? Opinion. We never give a what? Guarantee. Point number one. Do we give absolute assurance or do we give reasonable assurance? Bhai, I am not here to give you any absolute assurance. I am here to give you what? Do we use the word called true and fair or do we use the word called true and correct? We use the word true and fair. We never use the word. क्योंकि जब आप ट्रू एंड करेक्ट वर्ड यूज करते हो, इट मींस यू आर गिविंग अ गारंटी, यू आर सर्टिफाइंग समथिंग. हम लोग किसी चीज को सर्टिफाई नहीं कर रहे, क्योंकि प्लीज टेल मी, लॉजिक सेज दैट डू वी डू फुल चेकिंग और सैंपल चेकिंग? So when we are doing the sample checking, how you can expect me to give the absolute assurance? How you can expect me to give the guarantee? How you can expect me to use the word true and correct? We only use the word true and fair, give opinion in the form of reasonable assurance. 100% clarity. What is a common fourth word here again? Financial. तो मैंने पहले बताया था, अपना main primary objectives are revolving around one common thing. What is a common thing? फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स. तो यहां पे भी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट, फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट, फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट एंड फाइनेंशियल. नाउ टेल मी हाउ यू विल राइट इट इन द एग्जामिनेशन. टेल मी माय फोर प्राइमरी ऑब्जेक्टिव्स ऑफ ऑडिट. टू financial statement must be as per applicable financial reporting framework. To check that. Next one, to check that कि financial statements are prepared consistently in accordance with accounting standard. Third, to check that financial statements are free from risk of material misstatement. The fourth one, to check that, to report, sorry, not to check, to report on financial statement by expressing an opinion in the form of absolute or reasonable assurance. Simple. Is it clear? So these are my four which objectives. Now, if I'll get a time, I will shift my focus to which objectives now? Secondary. My first secondary objective is detection of frauds and errors. What is the first one? Detection of frauds and errors. अब तुम बोल रहे हो कि सर अभी तो आपने क्लियर किया था कि फ्रॉड्स एंड एरर्स का मेन प्रॉब्लम इज हुज रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी? मैनेजमेंट. तो नाउ यू आर सेइंग दैट इट इज ऑडिटर्स ऑब्जेक्टिव. दैट्स व्हाई आई रोट इट अंडर सेकेंडरी. If this is my secondary responsibility, it is whose primary? Management. 365 days, who is doing the business? Who is running it? Management. Who is preparing financial statement? Who knows his employees very well? So it is whose responsibility to detect? I will only detect those frauds and errors which will come across on my way of journey of doing the audit. And if I will detect some frauds and errors, I will evaluate them if it is less than 1 crore or if it is greater than equals to 1 crore. So is it my main objective or is it my secondary objective? Secondary objective. Agar time laga to I will do the detection of frauds and errors. Next one. बैटरी कौन चेक करेगा क्लास स्टार्ट होने से पहले? हाँ? Okay. So what is the second thing we are doing, everyone? We are checking the adequacy of which system? Internal control system. अब सुनना ध्यान से, मेरे को ये बताओ इंटरनल कंट्रोल सिस्टम क्या होता है? Surveillance system. Am I correct or not? अब let's say for example, you are a bank auditor. You are a which auditor? You went inside the bank and you didn't see even a single camera installed. Not even a single camera was installed. What is this indicates? Is it a sign of good internal control system or a poor internal control system? So will you buy the cameras and start installing it? Are you a mechanic or a chartered accountant? तो हमारा काम implementation of ICS है या checking whether ICS is implemented properly or not? That ICS is implemented properly or not. Now their accounting system is our responsibility or checking their accounting system is our responsibility? Checking. So what we are checking now, read? We are checking what? Adequacy of their two systems. What are the two systems? Internal control system, accounting system. Achha, let's say for example, if I see that in their godown, there is a 80 crores worth of stock. ध्यान से सुनना. How many worth of stock? There is only one person who is handling the whole godown. He is the only one who is allowing the empty lorry to come inside. He is the only one who is loading. He is the only one who is weighing the lorry. And he is the only one who is allowing the lorry to go outside the factory. 4 activities are done by single person. Is it a sign of good ICS or poor ICS? Chances of frauds and errors are higher. अगर मान लो मैं अकाउंटेंट हूं एक कंपनी का and I am also handling the cash, whether both the activities should be done by the single person or multiple person, that is also a sign of which ICS? Poor ICS. हम लोग ये चीजें चेक करते हैं क्योंकि if these things are perfectly installed in the class of my client, then in that case my workload will be reduced. अगर मेरे क्लाइंट का इंटरनल कंट्रोल सिस्टम अच्छा है, अगर मेरे क्लाइंट का अकाउंटिंग सिस्टम इज गुड, देन माय वर्कलोड विल बी रिड्यूस्ड. Imagine the bank without cameras. What is your workload? Higher or lower? And imagine a bank with cameras. What is your workload? Reduced. क्योंकि they have good internal control system to prevent, detect and correct frauds and errors. कभी भी यार लग रहा है, अच्छा हम लोग घर पे सीसीटीवी कैमरा क्यों लगाते हैं और why do you put the lock on your cell phone? This is your internal control system. आप गूगल ड्राइव अब जब जीपे या फोन पे यूज करते हो, do you use a pin code or not? Do you oftenly change your passwords on your accounts or not? Yes, that is your internal control system. Same thing we expect from whom? Client. So having the 4 people in the factory is a right choice or having the single person handling 4 activities is a right choice? 4 person handling the 4 different activity is the right ICS. Reason? क्योंकि one verse will be checked by what? Another person. अब जैसे say for example, let's imagine the person who is sitting outside, who is taking care of this, all those things which is not taking care of. Agar he is the same person who collects the fees, then please tell me, do you pay the fees to him or to the VRR building? Do you go there? Person who collects the fees is same person or different? Person who gives you the books or allots you the book is a which person? Different person. Person who manages the class is a what? Different person. But imagine all these 4-5 activities are done by the same person. Chances of frauds and errors will be higher or lower? Higher. तो याद रखना, the major spine, the backbone of every company is its these two systems. What are these two systems? Internal control system. If they are working well, if they are installed well, my workload as an auditor will be reduced. That's why I'm checking these two systems. So what is my secondary objective? Checking adequacy of which two system? Internal control system and accounting system. And third one is the most important, checking GC assumption. Checking which assumption? बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है, ध्यान से सुनना. मेरे को ये बताओ, GC where you have learnt it for the first time, where you heard it for the first time, accounting or auditing? Accounting. Is it one of our fundamental accounting assumption? So it is whose primary responsibility? Management. But whether the management is taking care of its responsibility properly or not, to check it is whose responsibility? Auditor. I will give you 7, 8 examples. You please tell me, is it favorable or unfavorable? Your top level management, CEO, CFO, MD of the company are leaving the company and no one is ready to replace them. No one is ready to become your CEO, CFO. What about the reputation of the company in the market? Is a good reputation or a poor reputation? Anybody would like to join your company? But that means your GC is in danger. No one is liking your company. Is it a going concern or no longer a going concern? No. You went to the 7 banks and all the 7 banks rejected your loan application. It means what? Why the banks are not interested in giving the loan? Are you a regular payer or you are a regular defaulter? No one is ready to pay you the loan. Is that again a good indication of going concern or a poor indication of going concern? Poor indication. In the last 7 years, your production has been reduced by 90%. What you used to produce 7 years back, now you are only producing 10% of that today. Is your production increasing or decreasing? Are you expanding or contracting? It is again a sign of what? Good going concern. Let me tell you one thing. Sometimes the management is blind. They are not able to see these things, or even if they are seeing these things, they are not going to show it on their face, because if they will show it on their face and in their financial statements, the impact of poor GC, what will happen? All the users will start reacting. What the bankers will start doing? Will pull off their funds. What the investors will start doing? They will start selling the shares. What the creditors will start doing? They will stop selling the goods on what? Credit. That's the reason management is hiding it by showing the which face? Smiling face. हमारी financial statement perfect है. But who will? अच्छा आपने एक law में एक word पता था lifting off. हम लोग वही कर रहे हैं. We are lifting the corporate wheel of what? Company. We are keeping aside this smiling face of the company and catching the actual culprit. कि boss, this is not the actual face of the company. This is the actual face of the company. तो we are checking which assumption? Going concern. तो ये हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, क्योंकि शेयर होल्डर इज डिपेंडेंट अपॉन हुज जजमेंट? ऑडिटर्स जजमेंट. అర్థమైందా? 100% క్లారిటీ. So tell me, what are my 7 objectives? అయిపోయింది క్వశ్చన్. Tell me, 2 objectives, primary, secondary. 4 primary, 3 secondary. So tell me my 4 primary. Financial statement should be as per AFRF. Financial statement should be prepared in consistency with accounting standard. Financial statement should be free from risk of material misstatement, and to report on financial statement by expressing an opinion in the form of reasonable assurance. मेरे secondary objectives क्या है? If time will allow, I will detect the frauds and error. I will check the adequacy of your internal control system and accounting system. And if the time will allow, I will check the GC assumption. 100% clarity, right? So this what brings an end to your topic called what? Objectives of an audit. This is also a part of which standard? Asset 200 is very huge standard. बहुत बड़ा standard है. First we did the definition of audit. Then we did what? Qualities of an auditor. Now we are doing what? Objective. And now 2 more topics are there. One is called scope of audit. What is the name? तुम्हारी लक्ष्मण रेखा. Who will decide, how it will be decided, and what to decide, right? Now, what do you understand by the term called scope when you hear it for the first time? आपके दिमाग में क्या word आता है scope सुनते ही? Scope means my limitations, my boundaries, my parameters within which I have to work. That means my what? Scope. जैसे my scope is what? कि I cannot take the managerial decisions in this institute. But all the delivery relating decisions, material related decisions, class का content decision, that is mine. So this is my boundary. I'm not allowed to ask anything other than my related services to outside. I cannot tell him go down and bring me a tea. Go down and matlab, I don't feel like telling them because they are not my employees. They are whose employees? The institute's employees. Am I correct? So I know my boundaries. Same way, a chartered accountant, when you do an audit, you should know your boundaries. First of all, try to understand the concept which I'm telling you. Then I will make you write the main points. See, there are 3 people, rather 4 people, who play a very, very important role in your scope and boundary. Topic number 1, nature of audit what you are doing. What is the first thing? Nature of. आप किस तरह का audit कर रहे हो? What kind of audit you are doing is going to decide your what? Scope. Let me give you a very simple example. Just now I told you the example of forensic audit. What do you mean by forensic audit? Detect the frauds and what is the meaning of statutory audit? Doing the examination of FS, financial statement. Both are same or both are different? Different na? What is bank audit and company audit? They both are same or different? Bank audit is nothing but different kind of audit. अच्छा बैंक में जाके आप क्या चेक करोगे? NPA, नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट्स. बैंक में आके जाके आप कैश चेक करोगे. अच्छा सिनेमा हॉल में यू विल चेक NPA और सिनेमा हॉल में यू विल डू व्हाट? टिकट चेकिंग. आप उनकी टिकट इनकम चेक करोगे. हॉस्पिटल में यू चेक टिकट इनकम और पेशेंट इनकम. तो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ audit you do, your scope changes. So it all depends upon, read the name now, nature of audit. आप किस तरह का audit कर रहे हो? What type of audit you are doing, your scope will differ from audit to audit. What if I'm doing the audit of a cinema hall, or what if I'm doing the audit of a bank? Both are same or both are different? Did you understand the point number one? Point number two, your act defines your scope. What is the second person? Act. Acha, tell me, I'm a company auditor. Which act I have to follow? Companies Act. I'm a bank auditor. Banking Regulation Act. I'm an insurance company auditor. Insurance Act. I'm a listed company auditor. Company Act plus SEBI Act. So, which act under which you are doing the audit, that also defines your word. So who are the two people who defines your scope? Nature of audit defines my scope. मतलब ये वो लोग हैं जो मेरे को बताएंगे कि what are my boundaries and what I can do, what I can't do. So what are the two people? Nature of audit. Third, the most important one is known as ICAI. Who is the third one? ICAI. Our institute also tells us what you can do, what you can't. Because standards on auditing are prepared by whom? So if the ICAI will change the old standards on auditing to new standards on auditing, can I still follow the old one? Or I have to shift to new one? So who is shaping my career? ICAI. Who is letting me do, what not to do? ICAI. So these are the major three people who defines your scope. Who are the three people? Nature of audit, act and ICAI. और भी बहुत छोटे छोटे areas है, but these are the major three pillars who actually defines your scope. Now the question arises कि sir, we understood that how our scope is defined. Is it required to be communicated to whom? Management? Answer is very much yes. If you will not tell your scope to whom? Management. Management will start interfering with their nose inside your work. अच्छा हमने इंडिपेंडेंस का मतलब क्या किया था? नो फैमिली रिलेशनशिप, नो फन. इंडिपेंडेंस का एक और मीनिंग भी है. नेवर डू द वर्क अकॉर्डिंग टू द विशेस एंड डायरेक्शंस ऑफ समवन. Don't get influenced by what? Anyone. Let's say, for example, it is very important to tell your scope to the management. Let me give you a very simple example. Suppose she's the management and I'm the auditor. I never told about my scope to this management. Now, one day suddenly I went to the management and I said that, Madam, I would like to check your cash register. She said, no, we will not give it to you. Can she dare to say no? No. क्योंकि accessing your each and every information is whose duty? Auditor. And you are not allowed to say no to me. Every piece of paper जो आपके ऑफिस में पड़ा है वो मेरा right है. That is my scope. If you are saying no to me, it means you are suppressing me. Are you reducing my scope or not? I will give up which report? Positive or negative? Negative report. So it is very important that between me and management, repeat, between, there should be 100% clarity about my scope. I will not interfere in your scope. You should not interfere in my scope. You do your own business. I will not interfere. I will not disturb it. इसीलिए ऑडिट हमेशा फाइनेंशियल ईयर के बाद होता है. So that when they are doing their work, we should not disturb them. And generally we do the audit in the post afternoon time period. Reason? क्योंकि morning to afternoon is the peak business working hours. So when I am not disturbing your business activity, why you are disturbing my audit? They cannot say anything to my staff. They cannot say anything to me. They cannot tell me, Rohit, what to do, what not to do. That's the reason we send one letter. उस लेटर को हम लोग बोलते हैं AEL, Audit Engagement Letter. What is the full form? इसके अंदर हम लोग अपना क्या लिख के भेजते हैं भैया? स्कोप. Boss, this is my scope. Read it carefully. If you are okay with my scope, let me know. We'll proceed further. If you are not okay with my scope, let me know. I will move further. Are you getting? I will not ask you to forcefully to appoint me. So this is my scope. If you agree, sign this letter and send it back again to whom? Auditor. I will take it as a proof कि you agreed to my terms and conditions. Is it clear? अब क्वेश्चन अराइज होता कि सर ये स्कोप लेटर में लिखा क्या होता है? ध्यान से सुनना. In the scope letter, there are 5 declarations. How many declarations? Declaration number 1. No one can interfere, or rather, you can say, reduce the scope of an auditor. What is the declaration number 1? No one can interfere or reduce the scope of an auditor. I will not allow anybody to interfere and let me know what to do, what not to do. Because my scope is written in the act, not by you. Who are the 3 people who are deciding my scope? Nature of audit. Audit के according my scope will be different. Act will decide my scope, and third person, institute. Other than these 3 people, I will not listen to anybody. So no one can interfere in my scope. Declaration number 2. Other than accounting and auditing, no other technical expertise should be expected from me. I am an expert in which field? Accounting and audit. इसके related काम है तो you are welcome to ask me anything. But other than this, don't come near to me. Don't ask me anything. I am not a doctor. तो मेरे को आगे पूछोगे कोविड मेडिसिन का इंजेक्शन कैसे बनता है? What will I say? Turn around. Oh. You ask me debit what comes in, credit what goes out, AS2 क्या है, SA 230 क्या है? I will give you the full information because I am an expert in 2 fields. What are the 2 fields? Accounting and audit. Other than that, no other technical expertise is there on my shoulder. Don't ask me anything. That is a point number 2. Point number 3. I will come and I will test your internal control system and accounting system. You are not going to stop me. Whatever the employee I want to ask, I will ask any question to any employee, and any information I can ask from any person, and I can access any document in your company. मेरे को sales voucher चाहिए, you have to provide me sales voucher. I want a sales register, you have to provide me sales register. I want your GST का user ID password, you have to provide me. I want to go to your godown and visit and check your physical verification of godown, you have to take me. I want to check your plant and machinery, you have to take me to your factory. So any interference or no interference? No interference. So tell me, what are the 3 declarations? No one can interfere and reduce my scope of audit. Other than accounting and auditing, no other technical expertise should be expected from me. Third one, I will come and test your internal control system and your what? Accounting system. Because how many days I have? 10 to 15 days. Do I have to do full checking or test checking? But I will only do the test checking if your internal control system and accounting system are good installed. If they are very poorly installed, my workload will reduce or increase? Increase. That's why I have to come and test it. Next point. I will check every aspect of your financial statements. I will check every aspect of your which statement? Financial statement. You will not stop me from doing anything. If I want to go to your godown, which is located in Vizag, there you have to take me. Traveling ka kharcha, auditing ka kharcha, housing, fooding, lodging, everything. Who will be here? Client. This is what powers have been given by Companies Act to us. And that is what we are telling to whom? Management. I don't want later on any kind of misunderstanding. That's why I'm clearing my scope to you only. Are you getting the point? So tell me, I'm a which faculty? So will I be teaching you costing? My scope. Did you get the point? Regarding what is my expertise? Is it costing? My scope. Can the management tell me what to do, what not to do? No. This is my scope. What to tell, what not to tell, how to tell, what material. That is completely to be decided by me. This is my scope. So you should be very clear with your scope and communicate it to the management. So the miscommunication should not take place at the later stage. So tell me, what are the 4 declarations I told? No one will interfere and reduce my scope other than auditing and accounting. No other technical expertise. I will come and test your which 2 systems? Internal control system, accounting system. Every aspect of financial statement I will cover. I will test your accounting standards. I will check your accounting policies. I will check your accounting records. I will check your accounting estimates. I will check your laws and regulations, and I will check your which assumption? GCSM. ये सारी चीजें मैं चेक करूंगा. You are not supposed to say anything to me. It means are we limited person or we are limitless person? Limitless. हमारी कोई limit नहीं है. And remember, whatever you are telling via this letter, it is not necessary that you have to stick to this letter only. If your professional judgment, technical word number 3 for the day, what is the word I am using? अगर आपकी professional judgment is telling you from inside, Rohit, you should do this also, even though I forgot to tell that via my letter, then you can very well include later on those things into your scope. It means my scope letter is what in nature? Flexible in nature. I want to drop something, I can drop it. I want to add something, I can add it. Did you get the point? This is what do you mean by scope of an audit. समझ में आया? अब बताओ, what are the 3 major things which affects my scope? What type of audit you are doing, act under which you are doing the audit, and institute which is defining your standards and rules and regulations. ये 3 बंदे हैं to whom I will listen, nobody else. Am I correct? What I am sending to whom? I am sending audit engagement letter to the whom? Communicating my terms and condition. What are my 5 terms and condition I told? No one will interfere or reduce my scope. Otherwise, I'll give a which opinion? Negative opinion. अगर आपने मेरे scope को गड़बड़ करी, if you tell my staff, no, you are not allowed to go this, you can't say. You have any problem? Let me know. I'll talk to my staff. Next point. Please tell me what is the next one? Other than auditing and accounting, no other expertise shall be expected from me. Next point. I will come and test your which 2 systems? Internal control systems and every aspect of what? Financial statement I'll check. Balance trading से लेके balance sheet तक, whatever is there in your financial statement, I can ask you anything. I can ask anybody's help, any information and any document, right? And what is the last one? I will check your accounting standards, accounting policies, accounting records, accounting estimates, laws and regulation, and what? Going on. Each and everything I will check. And can I add something later on? Can I reduce something? Yes. So my scope letter is what in nature? Flexible. It all depends upon whose judgment? Professional judgment of an auditor. Did you get the point? So this is what you need to understand about the scope of an audit. So what are the 2 topics we did today? Objectives. Jaldi batao, what are the 2 types of objectives? Primary and second. Next one, we are doing what? Scope. अब अपन scope को थोड़ा सा extend करेंगे with this word. Can you please tell me what is the 4th point? I will check every aspect of your what? Financial statement. अब मैं थोड़ा ये point को extend कर रहा हूँ. The topic name is known as aspects to be covered. What is the name of the topic? पहले लिख लो, aspects to be covered. What I'm going to cover in financial statements. Don't write anything, just simply listen. There are total 10 points you have to remember. How many points? 10 points. How we start the audit and how we end the audit, I'm going to tell you now. कि आप client के जब enter हो जाते हो, what is the first thing you do and what is the last thing you do? Try to understand this. इसे हम लोग बोलते हैं aspect to be covered. Total how many points? 10 points. Don't write it, just simply understand it. When we first enter the client's place, the very first day when we enter the client's place, we first check these 2 systems. What are the systems? Control system and accounting. अब मैं थोड़ा सा इसको डिटेल में बताता हूँ. Internal control system का मतलब क्या होता है? We are checking their internal control system कि are they operating effectively or not? Are they operating? Let me tell you one thing. मेरे को ये बताओ, सेल्स रिटर्न का जनरल एंट्री क्या है? सेल्स अकाउंट डेबिटेड, सेल्स रिटर्न वही हुआ ना? क्या हुआ जनरल एंट्री, बताना दोबारा से। सेल्स अकाउंट डेबिटेड टू, देखो हमने जब, चलो लेट्स मेक इट वेरी सिंपल, व्हेन वी मेक अ सेल व्हाट इज अवर जनरल एंट्री? बैंक टू सेल्स, एम आई करेक्ट? और अगर हमने क्रेडिट सेल्स करी है तो डेटर टू सेल। अब वो डेटर हमको सेल्स रिटर्न कर रहा है, कैन आई से दैट सेल्स टू डेटर? उल्टा हो गया। अब नाउ दे आर यूजिंग द टेली सॉफ्टवेयर, विच सॉफ्टवेयर? प्लीज टेल मी, इफ आई एम पुटिंग अ रॉन्ग जर्नल एंट्री, whether their accounting software should allow me or should show an error? चलो एक काम करो, डेप्रिसिएशन ऑन फिक्स एसेट की जनरल एंट्री बताओ। डेबिटेड टू फिक्स एसेट, मैंने फिक्स एसेट्स टू डेप्रिसिएशन डाल दिया। मैं अकाउंटेंट हूं, आई एम नॉट अ क्वालिफाइड सीए, मैंने डेप्रिसिएशन टू फिक्स एसेट्स टू डेप्रिसिएशन डाल दिया। नाउ टेल मी वेदर दैट अकाउंटिंग सिस्टम शुड एक्सेप्ट दिस और शुड शो द एरर। अगर वो एरर शो कर रहा है तो इट मींस देयर अकाउंटिंग सॉफ्टवेयर इज गुड और पुअर? गुड। उसे बोलते हैं टेस्टिंग विद सिस्टम, अकाउंटिंग सिस्टम। मैंने अकाउंटेंट को पूछा, मैंने कहा इधर आ, मैंने कहा मेरे को ये बता कि व्हाट इज योर क्रेडिट पीरियड? इट मींस हाउ मच क्रेडिट यू गिव टू योर व्हाट डेटर्स? तो ही सेड दैट 30 days। हाउ मेनी डेज? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दैट? कि आफ्टर 30 days डू दे रिकवर द मनी फ्रॉम द डेटर और नॉट? मैंने कहा नॉट इवन अ सिंगल डेटर हैज पेड यू द मनी विद इन 30 days। एवरीवन इज पेइंग इन 60 days, 65 days, some are paying after 180 days, some are paying after what? 1 year. It means, is it a good internal control system or poor internal control system? In how many days they are supposed to recover their money? And how many days they are actually recovering? It means, are they operating effectively or ineffectively? My workload will increase. समझ में आ रहा है? This is the starting of your audit. This is how you start your audit with, by testing two systems. What are the two systems? Internal control system and accounting. चलो टेस्ट कर लिया। सेकेंड पॉइंट, मैंने उनको क्या बोला? मैंने कहा एक काम करो, आई वॉन्ट टू टेस्ट सम ऑफ योर सिस्टम्स एंड सम ऑफ योर प्रोसीजर्स। आई वॉन्ट टू टेस्ट सम ऑफ योर सिस्टम्स एंड प्रोसीजर्स टू आइडेंटिफाई सम वीकनेसेस, टू आइडेंटिफाई सम। तो मैंने बोला एक काम करो, यू प्लीज सेट असाइड, गिव मी योर लैपटॉप, आई वुड लाइक टू डू सम डमी एंट्रीज। विच एंट्रीज? डमी एंट्री। मैंने 2-3 फालतू की डमी एंट्रीज करी, and what I was expecting, this happened. Now tell me, is it a good sign or poor sign? Good sign. What I was expecting should happen, it is happening. But what if the things are going against my expectation? Is it a good sign or poor sign? It means I'm interested in identifying your what? Weaknesses. जिसे हम लोग SWOT analysis बोलते हैं. What analysis? SWOT. What is SWOT? Strengths, weaknesses. I'm not interested in S and O. Strengths and opportunities. I'm more interested in what? Weaknesses and threats. क्योंकि that is something which is taking you low. So it is my responsibility to put in front of you the weaknesses and threats which you have in your internal control systems and procedures. Did you understand the second point? So tell me, what if we tested first? Internal control system and accounting system. Then I tested some systems and procedures to identify their what? Weaknesses. Third thing, I told them, okay, show me your what? Books of accounts. Show me your which accounts? Books of accounts mein I saw some transactions and I saw some what? Balances. Basically, what I'm checking here is arithmetical accuracy of books of accounts. What I'm checking, everyone? Arithmetical. अच्छा मेरे को बताओ, what is the first thing happens in accounting? Ledger or journal? Journal to ledger to trial balance. Trial balance to, is it a process of accounting or not? If that is happening, is it cool? Yes. So I'm checking what? Arithmetical accuracy of their which books of account. Tell me the 3 steps what I did. Understand, we have not yet touched financial statements. ये हमारा homework चल रहा है. This is my what? Homework. Main audit तो later on will come. Tell me, what is the first thing? Internal control system and accounting. Then I tested some systems and procedures to identify some. Then I checked their what? उसमें क्या चेक कर रहा हूं? अर्थमेटिकल एक्यूरेसी, करेक्ट. देन आई टोल्ड देम दैट पॉइंट नंबर 4, मैंने कहा डू यू नो द डिफरेंस बिटवीन कैपिटल आइटम्स एंड रेवेन्यू आइटम्स. तो आई एम जस्ट टेस्टिंग देयर अकाउंटिंग नॉलेज. डू यू नो द डिफरेंस बिटवीन कैपिटल एंड रेवेन्यू आइटम्स? व्हाट इज इंस्टॉलेशन एक्सपेंडिचर? जनरल एंट्री. Installation expenditure account debited to P&L or to fixed assets? Fixed assets account debited to installation expenditure. Sure. हाँ फिर मेरा क्वेश्चन बहुत सिंपल है. Installation expenditure should be debited to P&L or should be added to cost of an asset? It's a which expenditure? But when I saw their accounting, they are debiting it to P&L. Tell me, is the accountant having a knowledge or is lacking in knowledge? This is called testing. And please tell me, salaries and wages is a which expenditure? Capital expenditure or revenue? It should be debited to what? That he is doing fine. It means he does not know the major difference between what and what. Capital items and revenue. उसे accounting treatment में problem हो रही है. किसमें? And when the accounting is wrong, it means their accounts are wrong. If their books of accounts are wrong, it means their financial statements are true and fair or untrue and unfair. यही तो हमारा होमवर्क चल रहा है. कभी भी याद करो, डायरेक्टली हम लोग जाके उनको नहीं बोलते बैलेंस शीट, P&L, ऐसा बात नहीं होती. फर्स्ट यू डू अ ग्राउंड वर्क. मैंने तुम्हें क्या बोला था कल? प्लानिंग टेक्स द मैक्सिमम टाइम. व्हाट टेक्स द मैक्सिमम टाइम? प्लानिंग. ये सारा प्लानिंग स्टेज है. सो टेल मी व्हाट आर द 4 थिंग्स आई डिड? इंटरनल कंट्रोल सिस्टम एंड अकाउंटिंग सिस्टम. फिर जाके थोड़े सिस्टम्स एंड प्रोसीजर्स को आई यूज्ड टू आइडेंटिफाई देयर वीकनेस. देन आई टेस्टेड देयर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स to check arithmetical accuracy. Then capital items and revenue items ka differences I asked. Then fifth point, try to understand. In the fifth point, what I'm doing, now I'm expecting that your financial statement should be in agreement with what? Books of accounts. What do we prepare throughout the year? Books of accounts. What we prepare at the end of the year? What is prepared from what? Financial statements are prepared from. So what should agree with whom? Financial statement should agree with what? Books of account. Correct है? तो ये 5 things when I did, this is called my homework, right? Now I will tell them कि show me your financial statements में first financial statement which I'm going to test is known as P&L. What is the first one? अच्छा मेरे को ये बताओ P&L में क्या होते हैं? P&L में balances are there और transactions are there. तो P&L में व्हाट वी आर टेस्टिंग? ट्रांजैक्शंस. इसे हम लोग पता क्या बोलते हैं? इसे बोलते हैं TOT, टेस्टिंग ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस. व्हाट वी कॉल इट एज? इसमें हम लोग क्या टेस्ट करते हैं? वेदर द ट्रांजैक्शंस आर कंप्लीटली रिकॉर्डेड और नॉट, वेदर द ट्रांजैक्शंस आर करेक्टली रिकॉर्डेड और नॉट, वेदर द ट्रांजैक्शंस आर वैलिडली रिकॉर्डेड और नॉट, एंड वेदर द ट्रांजैक्शंस आर accurately recorded or not. Tell me the 4 things. We are checking accuracy, completeness, correctness, validity. चलो एक एक एग्जांपल बताता हूं. Please tell me one thing. You made a sale on 31st March 2024, but the delivery of the goods you did it on 7th April 2024. Is it a sale of March month or April month? क्यों? लेकिन आपने कस्टमर को डिलीवरी करी है 7th अप्रैल को. AS9. What is AS9? Revenue recognition. Risk and rewards were already transferred or not? On the which date? 31st March. Delivery only took place on 7th. So is it a sale of 23-24 or 24-25? But they recorded it in what? तो आप क्या चेक कर रहे हो? Validity of the sale. You are checking accuracy of the sale. Are you getting the point? तो ये तो चेक करते हैं हम लोग, इसे बोलते हैं TOT. What do we call it as? और TOT का सेकंड नेम है वाउचिंग. What is the name of this technique? Vouching. ध्यान से सुनो. Vouching word has come from the voucher. चलो आपको मैकडी का ऑडिटर बनाते हैं. You are the auditor of McDonald's. You want to check the sales. आप उनसे क्या पूछोगे? शो मी योर सेल्स वाउचर्स, शो मी योर वाउचर में क्या चेक करोगे? आर यू गोइंग टू चेक द डेट ऑफ वाउचर? विल यू चेक द डेट ऑफ वाउचर? व्हाट इज योर ऑडिट पीरियड? 1st April 2023 ending on. So are you interested in vouchers of before April and after March, or you're not interested? So is date a very important thing? Yes. अब वाउचर में क्या चेक करोगे? डेट ऑफ वाउचर. सेकेंड थिंग, विल यू चेक द अमाउंट ऑफ वाउचर? यस. विल यू चेक द डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ वाउचर? इज इट अ सेल और परचेस? इज इट अ पेमेंट और रिसिप्ट? उसे बोलते हैं वाउचिंग. व्हाट इज द नेम ऑफ द टेक्निक? वाउचिंग. तो वाउचिंग वर्ड हैज कम फ्रॉम द वर्ड कॉल्ड वाउचर. अब समझ में आया? तो पीएनएल में अपन व्हाट आर द 4 थिंग्स वी आर चेकिंग? एक्यूरेसी ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस, कंप्लीटनेस ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस, वैलिडिटी ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस एंड करेक्टनेस ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन. करेक्ट? ठीक है, पीएनएल टेस्ट कर लिया. अभी व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट थिंग विल टेस्ट? बैलेंस शीट, फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट. व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट थिंग कमिंग? बैलेंस. अच्छा, बैलेंस शीट में ट्रांजैक्शंस होते हैं, बैलेंसेस होते हैं. क्या होते हैं बैलेंस शीट में? एसेट्स, लायबिलिटी. पहले अपन क्या चेक करेंगे? एसेट्स. एसेट्स में हम लोग चेक करते हैं ई ओ वी, एग्जिस्टेंस, ओनरशिप, वैल्यूएशन. व्हाट आर द 3 थिंग्स वी चेक? एग्जिस्टेंस, ओनरशिप, वैल्यू. बहुत सिंपल सा लॉजिक है, ध्यान से आंसर देना. आई एम योर क्लाइंट राइट नाउ, यू आर माई ऑडिटर. You asked me how many plant and machineries I have in my factory. I said 49 plant and machinery. How many? Now, what you will do? Would you like to check? क्या चेक करोगे? Existence कैसे चेक करोगे? Would you like to go to a factory? Would you like to do physical counting? Okay, you checked what? Existence. What is the guarantee that these 49 plant and machinery are mine? You are going to check my what? Ownership. कैसे चेक करोगे? डॉक्यूमेंट ऑफ टाइटल्स. आप मेरे को परचेज इनवॉइस दिखा दो. व्हाट इज द थर्ड थिंग? इट्स वैल्यूएशन शुड बी एज पर व्हाट? यस. खत्म. तो आप एसेट्स में क्या चेक करते हो? ईओवी. व्हाट इज ईओवी? एग्जिस्टेंस. चलो एक और बताता हूं. स्टॉक में क्या चेक करोगे? ईओवी. कैसे चेक करोगे? आई एम सेइंग इन माय गोडाउन देयर इज अ 92 crores ऑफ स्टॉक. वुड यू लाइक टू विजिट माय गोडाउन? क्या चेक करोगे? एग्जिस्टेंस. किसका स्टॉक है? कैसे चेक करोगे? ओनरशिप. स्टॉक की वैल्यूएशन एज पर AS2. आई हैव 1600 crores ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट्स. क्या चेक करोगे? EOV. कैसे चेक करोगे मेरी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स? विल यू टेक माई डीमेट स्टेटमेंट, डीमेट अकाउंट का स्टेटमेंट? विल यू चेक माई नेम ऑन डीमेट अकाउंट दैट प्रूव्स माई ओनरशिप, और उसका वैल्यूएशन भी चेक कर लोगे? हर एक एसेट्स में ये 3 चीजें कॉमन होती हैं: एग्जिस्टेंस, ओनरशिप, वैल्यू. और ट्रांजैक्शन में हमने क्या चेक किया था? एक्यूरेसी, कंप्लीटनेस, करेक्टनेस, वैलिडिटी. दोनों डिफरेंट होते हैं. अच्छा मेरे को ये बताओ, चलो मैं एक ट्रिकी क्वेश्चन पूछता हूं. डज एसेट्स अकर और डज एसेट्स एग्जिस्ट? ट्रांजैक्शंस वो उसका है, ये इसका है. आप ये नहीं बोल सकते आई वुड लाइक टू चेक द एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ द सेल्स. ऑड लग रहा है? आई वुड लाइक टू चेक द एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ एसेट्स. यस, बोलने में भी ऑड लगता है. तो वुड यू लाइक टू चेक एक्यूरेसी ऑफ एसेट्स और एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ एसेट्स? एग्जिस्टेंस. तो वो उसमें वाउचिंग के अलग एरियाज हैं, एंड ये टेक्निक को हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? वेरिफिकेशन. व्हाट इज द नेम ऑफ दिस टेक्निक? तो बताओ हम लोग क्या करते हैं बैलेंस शीट एंड पीएनएल में? वाउचिंग एंड वेरिफिकेशन. व्हाट आर द 2 थिंग्स वी डू? वाउचिंग एंड वेरिफिकेशन. वाउचिंग वेयर? पीएनएल एंड ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट. वेरिफिकेशन वेयर? तो इसका मतलब वेरिफिकेशन टेक्स प्लेस ऑफ बैलेंसेस, वाउचिंग टेक्स प्लेस ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस. इसे टीओटी बोलते हैं, तो इसे क्या हम बोलेंगे? टीओपी, टेस्टिंग ऑफ बैलेंसेस. अर्थमाइंदा? टेल मी द 7 स्टेप्स. सबसे पहले हमने क्या चेक किया? सबसे पहले गए हमने इंटरनल कंट्रोल सिस्टम एंड अकाउंटिंग सिस्टम. फिर हमने क्या टेस्ट करे? टू चेक सम. फिर हम क्या करते हैं? चेकिंग देयर, फिर हमने थोड़ा सा चेक किया कि आर दे अवेयर अबाउट द डिफरेंस बिटवीन, थोड़ा अकाउंटिंग नॉलेज, देन आई इंश्योर्ड दैट कि फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट शुड बी इन अग्रीमेंट विद, फिर मैंने फर्स्ट फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट ली क्या, पीएनएल, और उसमें हमने क्या करा, टीओटी, टेस्टिंग ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन, क्या चेक करा, एक्यूरेसी, कंप्लीटनेस, करेक्टनेस, वैलिड, व्हाट डू वी कॉल इट एज। फिर मैंने बैलेंस शीट पे गया, मैंने क्या चेक करे, बैलेंसेस, एसेट्स में क्या चेक करे, एग्जिस्टेंस, ओनरशिप, और एसेट्स का दूसरा क्या होता है, हु इज द सेकंड ब्रदर ऑफ एसेट, लाइबिलिटी, तो लाइबिलिटीज में क्या चेक करेंगे, उसमें चेक करेंगे एन, ई एंड डी, नेचर, extent and disclosures. What are the things we'll check? Short term loan or long term loan. It means we are checking what? Extent. Secured loan or unsecured loan. We are checking what? Nature. Properly disclosed under the head or not. We are checking what? Disclosure. मेरे को ये बताना, creditors कहां पे आएगा? Loans के अंदर या current liabilities के अंदर? Current liability. और बैंक लोन, टर्म लोन कहां पे आएगा, लोन्स के अंदर। कैपिटल लोन्स के अंदर आएगी या कैपिटल कैपिटल के अंदर आएगा। डू एवरीवन हैव अ सेपरेट डिस्क्लोजर और नॉट, तो वी आर चेकिंग व्हाट, डिस्क्लोजर्स। तो बताओ टीओटी में क्या क्या चेक किया, एक्यूरेसी, कंप्लीटनेस, करेक्टनेस, वैलिडिटी। यहां पे क्या चेक कर रहे हैं, एसेट्स में एग्जिस्टेंस, ओनरशिप, वैल्यूएशन, लायबिलिटी में नेचर, एक्सटेंट, इसी को ही ऑडिट बोलते हैं। जब हमने ये चेक कर लिया, एंड इफ आई एम सेटिस्फाइड विद ऑल दीज एरियाज, तो देन आई विल फाइनली डू व्हाट, रिपोर्टिंग। आर यू गेटिंग द पॉइंट? आई विल फाइनली डू व्हाट, रिपोर्टिंग। बट याद रखना, कभी भी रिपोर्टिंग करने के टाइम पे द लास्ट स्टेज इज नोन एज कंक्लूजन्स एंड रिपोर्टिंग। यू शुड रिपोर्ट, there are two types of audit report, one is called modified and one is called unmodified. What are the two types of report? इसे हम लोग नेगेटिव रिपोर्ट बोलते हैं, एंड दिस वी कॉल इट एज अ पॉजिटिव। बट देर आर फोर टाइप्स ऑफ कंक्लूजन्स। हाउ मेनी टाइप्स? फोर। वन इज कॉल्ड क्लीन ओपिनियन, वन इज कॉल्ड क्वालिफाइड ओपिनियन, वन इज कॉल्ड एडवर्स ओपिनियन, एंड वन इज कॉल्ड डिस्क्लेमर ओपिनियन। तो याद रखना, report are two types, opinions are four types. So what are the four types of opinion? Clean, qualified, adverse, disclaimer. Today is not the right time to let you know what are the meaning of this thing, because we have a chapter called audit reporting. उसमें पढ़ेंगे सब कुछ. And what are the two types of report, everyone? Modified and un. This is the end product of every audit. अब मेरे को ये बताओ, audit तो last 3 steps में ही हो गया। बेसिकली देखा जाए तो मेन ऑडिट हैपेंड इन द लास्ट व्हाट, 3 स्टेप्स। इट मींस फर्स्ट 5 स्टेप्स वाज व्हाट, प्लानिंग। दैट्स व्हाई आई यूज्ड टू टेल यू, इफ यू आर फेलिंग टू प्लान, यू आर प्लानिंग टू फेल। अगर आप ऊपर के 5 पॉइंट्स नहीं करोगे ना, यू विल नेवर बी एबल टू डू दिस टीओटी, टीओबी, कंक्लूजन एंड रिपोर्टिंग प्रॉपरली। अब बताओ, स्कोप, फुल टॉपिक, दिस इज कॉल्ड स्कोप। अब समझ में, यहां से शुरू होता है स्कोप, एंड दिस इज वेयर इट एंड्स, क्योंकि दिस वाज द एक्सटेंशन ऑफ स्कोप ओनली ना। व्हाट वाज द फोर्थ पॉइंट इन स्कोप, एंड व्हाट आर द एस्पेक्ट्स वी कवर्ड? 8 एस्पेक्ट। अब बताओ, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय स्कोप? स्कोप रेफर्स टू बाउंड्रीज, पैरामीटर्स एंड लिमिटेशंस विद इन विच हु हैज टू वर्क? ऑडिटर। व्हाट आर द 3 मेजर थिंग्स विच अफेक्ट्स योर स्कोप? नेचर ऑफ ऑडिट, एक्ट एंड इंस्टीट्यूट. Do you have to send one scope letter? What is the name of that letter? Who is sending this letter to whom? What I am defining my terms and conditions. Tell me my 5 terms and conditions. मैं पहले, जैसे वो सिगरेट पैक के ऊपर स्टैट्यूटरी डिक्लेरेशन लिखी होती है ना, स्मोकिंग इज इंजूरियस टू हेल्थ, इंटरफेयरिंग मीन्स इंजूरियस टू देयर हेल्थ, अदरवाइज आई विल गिव द नेगेटिव रिपोर्ट, राइट? तो भाई, नो वन इज अलाउड टू इंटरफेयर माई स्कोप. सेकेंड, other than accounting and auditing, no other expertise. Third, can I ask any employee anything? Can I ask any information? Can I access any document? Yes. Next one, I will cover every aspect of financial statement, and then I will test your accounting standards, accounting policies, accounting estimates, laws and regulation and going on. हम लोग शुरू में सब कुछ क्लियर कट कर दिया so that I don't want any future misunderstanding. Then what are the 8 things you covered in aspect? Internal control system and accounting system. Are they operating effectively or not? Then I did some systems and procedures testing to check some weaknesses. Then I borrowed some books of account to test their arithmetical accuracy. Then I asked them the fair questions or differences between capital items, and then I made sure that the financial statements are in agreement with books of account. Then I finally touched the first financial statement called P&L. P&L में I did TOB or TOT, testing of. What did we test? Accuracy, completeness, correctness, validity. What is the name of this technique? Vouching. Then I tested what? Balance sheet. Balance sheet को हम लोग TOT या TOB, testing of. What is the name of this technique? Verification. First हमने क्या test किया? Assets. Asset में what we are testing? Existence, ownership, valuation. Liability में what we are testing? Nature, extent, disclosure. And finally I will conclude my audit and will give you a report. That's why the last step name is known as conclusion and reporting. How many types of reports we have? 2. Modified, unmodified. How many types of conclusions we have? 4. Clean, qualified, adverse, disclaimer. समझ में आ गया? Everything has a right time. So whenever the right times will come, I'll make you understand automatically what do you mean by clean, qualified, adverse and disclaimer. Now, before leaving, there are 2 very small differences are there in your portion. One is called the difference between accounting and auditing. And one is called the difference between auditing and investigation. आप ये कंप्लीट करवा दो, उसके बाद you are free to go. I will give you the base. You have to give me the answer. Let's understand the first difference between what and what? Accounting and audit. What comes first and what comes later on? Accounting comes first, and then when accounting ends, auditing starts. So who follows whom? Auditing follows accounting. 100% clear? Acha, do you know the Gandhi definition of accounting? वो घटिया सी definition. It's an art or science of classifying, balancing, generalizing, right? तो पहला difference मैं लिख देता हूं definition and meaning. Auditing का meaning पता है? Auditing is a which examination? Of financial information of entity, whether or not, irrespective. Our objective is only to expression on books of accounts or financial statement. So do we know the first difference? Definition and meaning. What follows whom? So can I say that accounting leads to auditing? Yes or no? And यहाँ पे लिखेंगे auditing starts when what? When accounting ends. Correct है? चलो ये 2 points हो गए. Who is whose responsibility? Which one is management's? Which one is auditors? Accounting is whose responsibility? Management. And this one is whose? Auditors. Correct है? अब next वाला point ध्यान से देना. Little bit tricky. Where you have to be qualified practicing CA. Not necessary in accounting. Even a BCom or MBA qualified can do the accounting. But auditing who can do only? Qualified practicing CA. So where qualification matters? Auditing. Does not matter in accounting. So that's what. Qualification does not matter, but here qualification matters. Correct? Hai? Okay. How many differences are there? 4. 2 more. Okay. Who needs to be expert in accounting standards and who needs to be expert in accounting standards and auditing standards? Accountant needs to be an expert only in accounting standard, whereas auditor has to be having an expertise in both accounting standard. So here we need expertise of accounting standards, but here we need expertise of what? Both accounting standards and standards on auditing. करेक्ट है? 100% क्लैरिटी. So, okay, where do we record the financials and where do we review the financials? Accounting में we record the financials and auditing में we review the financials. अब बताओ कोई डिफरेंस में प्रॉब्लम? इजी. तो तुम लोगों ने ही आंसर दिया, मैंने थोड़ा आंसर दिया. तो आई गेव यू जस्ट बेस, यू क्रिएटेड द 6 डिफरेंसेस. तो टेल मी व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस नंबर 1? डेफिनेशन एंड. एग्जाम में ऐसा नहीं लिखना है, एग्जाम में लिख के आना डेफिनेशन एंड मीनिंग. डिफरेंस नंबर 2, व्हाट लीड्स टू व्हाट? ऑडिटिंग स्टार्ट्स where qualification matters. Auditing does not matter in case of, right? Whose responsibility is auditing? Auditors. Management की responsibility है account. I need to be expert as an auditor in both accounting standard, standards on auditing. Accountant has to be expert only in accounting standard. And last but not the least, where do we record the financials? Where do we review it? Chalo. Let's move to the second one. After that, you leave. Which one starts with a suspicious mind? Pakka? So it does not start with suspicion. यहां पे कौन सा माइंड चलता है? क्वेश्चनिंग माइंड को क्या बोलते हैं? स्केप्टिकल माइंड. स्पेक्टिकल नहीं है, स्केप्टिकल माइंड. इट स्टार्ट्स विद सस्पिशियस माइंड. सर आपको ऑडिटिंग समझ में आ रहा है? नहीं आ रहा तो बोल देना, इट्स ओके, दैट्स योर प्रॉब्लम. चलो, सो फर्स्ट डिफरेंस तो अल्टीमेटली ओवर कि इट डज नॉट स्टार्ट विद सस्पिशियस माइंड, इट स्टार्ट्स विद व्हाट? सस्पिशियस. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन, वेयर डू वी इशू रिपोर्ट एंड वेयर डू वी इशू सर्टिफिकेट? ऑडिटिंग में क्या होती है? रिपोर्टिंग होती है, रिपोर्टिंग ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स. यहां पे होता है सर्टिफिकेशन ऑफ फैक्ट्स एंड फिगर्स. करेक्ट? ओके. विच जनरली टेक्स प्लेस इन वन फाइनेंशियल ईयर एंड विच डज नॉट हैव अ पर्टिकुलर टाइम पीरियड? ऑडिटिंग टेक्स प्लेस every financial year. Am I correct or not? And do we have any particular time for investigation? Can the investigation be completed in 2 hours, 2 weeks, 2 years? It may take 20 years also. So any particular time period or no specific time period? No specific time period. Correct? So you have अपने 3 differences. Next point. Where do we use the word called true and fair? Where we can use the word called true and correct? Auditing may we always use the word called true and fair. That is its objective. And here true and correct. That is its objective. Okay. ध्यान से सुनना. Where we are mostly dependent upon evidences provided to us, where we collect the evidences on our own. ध्यान से आंसर देना. Auditing में we are based upon evidences provided to us, क्योंकि management gives us what? Evidences. But investigation में, is the management fraud or not? So are you going to collect the evidences from the fraud person who did the fraud, or you would like to collect the evidences on your own? तो इसको हम लोग auditing language में क्या बोलते हैं? This is based upon persuasive evidence. What is the word? Persuasive evidence means which is provided by client, and investigation is based upon conclusive evidences. What do you mean by conclusive evidences? Which is obtained by auditor. Oh sorry, not auditor, investigator. चलो ध्यान से बताओ. Who appoints you as an auditor? You are appointed by shareholders. Management auditor appoint नहीं करती. Shareholders in AGM. What is AGM? आपको शेयर होल्डर्स अपॉइंट करते हैं, मैनेजमेंट अपॉइंट नहीं करती. बिकॉज यू आर एन इंडिपेंडेंट पर्सन, यू कांट लिसन टू हुम? मैनेजमेंट. तो यू आर नेवर अपॉइंटेड बाय हुम? मैनेजमेंट. यू आर ऑलवेज अपॉइंटेड बाय एजीएम. पता ना? एक्चुअली सो फार यू हैव नॉट रीच टू which topic is going on in your law. So this you will come to know when the management and administration chapter will go on. Section number 138 to 148 way. So appointed by shareholders in AGM and investigator is appointed by central government. ठीक है ना? अच्छा ये बताओ हम लोग रिपोर्ट किसको करते हैं? We auditors report to users of financial statement. Tell me the 7 users. Management, shareholder. This person reports only to central government. इसका कोई यूजर नहीं होता है, इसका एक ही यूजर है, सेंट्रल। वी हैव यूजर्स, हमारी रिपोर्ट सेबी भी लेता है, लेंडर्स भी लेते हैं, क्रेडिटर्स भी, शेयर होल्डर्स, मैनेजमेंट, देयर आर सो मेनी users, right? So this is what the basic difference between, one more point, where qualification has to be a CA, auditing, investigator may be a CA, may not, लेकिन forensic audit के केस में you should be a CA. So right, qualification is qualified practicing CA, and here qualification is not specified. It can be any eligible person. So these are the differences between what and what? Auditing and investigation. 100% clarity. So what are the two differences we did? Auditing and accounting, auditing and investigation. That's it for today. See you guys tomorrow. Still, SA 200 is not yet over. So this is all a part of which standard? 200. So we in total did the 4 topics today. One, we understood objectives of audit, scope के बाद aspects, and aspects के बाद 2 differences, which we are going to revise it tomorrow. Thank you. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you.